The midterms are just around the corner, and Republicans are ready for payback if they win control of either branch of the Congress. Axios is reporting that top Republican aides have met with a group of conservative think tanks like the Heritage Foundation to prep for a slew of probes into the Biden administration. Mike Howell, who leads Heritage's oversight project, told Axios, quote, "You've got to do 4 years of oversight in 2 years. That's going to be an immense lift. And it means that they cannot wait to get these committees situated. There are thousands of people who served in the Trump administration, myself included, who experienced what was probably the most intense congressional oversight to date. They are chomping, it should be champing, but they are chomping at the bit to deploy these skills that they've learned back at the Biden administration." This is in line with previous reporting that some Republicans are gearing up to lead a barrage of aggressive inquiries once in power. So, basically, they're petty, angry, and ready to spend our tax dollars on mess like this. Back with me is Daniel Goldman, former lead counsel of the first Trump impeachment inquiry and New York congressional candidate, and Kurt Bardella. Kurt, I've just given you a new nickname, Kurtie B. Advisor to the DNC and DCCC and former spokesperson for the House Oversight Committee. All right, Kurtie B., as the former communications person for the House Oversight Committee, for Republicans, you know how this is going to go down. How bad is it going to be for the Biden administration if Republicans take back the House and Republicans control the Oversight Committee?
Well, listen, Jonathan, I was there the last time we had a changeover in power going from Democrat to Republican rule with an opposition party in the White House, and we saw how Republicans used the reins of power to basically hit a wrecking ball on the Obama administration's agenda and suck up all of the oxygen with hundreds of subpoenas, hearings every week. It was a nonstop show that led to things like Fast and Furious with Attorney General Eric Holder being held in contempt of Congress. Things like the Benghazi investigation that would last for 6 years and culminate with Hillary Clinton having to testify before the Select Committee for more than 11 hours. They know exactly what they're doing. The difference between Republicans and Democrats, I feel like, having now been on both sides of this, is that Republicans are never reluctant to use the power that they have and to wield it over the opposition party. Democrats at times seem almost hesitant, reluctant to do the same thing, and Republicans are getting ready to unleash an investigative tsunami on the Biden administration. They're going to go after Hunter Biden. They're going to go after cabinet secretaries. They're going to go after every single dollar that was used in the infrastructure bill to try to cripple and paralyze the Biden administration, to effectively end the Biden administration prematurely by using exaggerated clickbait nonsense to launch investigation after investigation, witch hunt after witch hunt against the Democrats in the White House and really tie up the entire agenda and the media atmosphere.
And Daniel, on that point about how, to Kurt's point about Democrats are just basically going to have to, adopt some of the tactics that Republicans use by being a little more aggressive about fighting these things. But, Democrats, they play by the rules and they don't want to shake things up. But do you think Democrats should do what Republicans do, defy subpoenas, say, in essence, well, screw you, we don't care, we don't find you legitimate? Should Democrats do that?
Well, Jonathan, you raise a good point. Kurt raises a really good point. I mean, it's part of the reason I'm running for Congress is that the Democrats need to be tougher. They need to be more aggressive. They need to understand that Republicans are bad actors. They are operating in bad faith. The quaint notions of meeting in the Capitol cafeteria to hash out legislation or to hash out, progress, that's over. The Republicans are a wrecking ball. They're trying to destroy our fundamental rights, our democracy. And so the Democrats absolutely need to get tougher. I laugh at that quote saying that the Trump administration suffered the most intensive congressional oversight.
You wonder why.
I was there. They flouted subpoena after subpoena after subpoena in a way that had never been done before. Now, it's going to be tricky because Democrats do believe in the rule of law. Democrats do believe in separation of powers. And so Democrats are not just going to defy all subpoenas, as Donald Trump publicly said he would do. Now, in the impeachment investigation, we were able to sort of break through that logjam, but very little else was able to be accomplished. And so the Biden administration and the Democrats in Congress are going to have to play tougher hardball. And the Republican congressmen are putting themselves in a bit of a pickle because they themselves have flouted congressional subpoenas. So talk about the height of hypocrisy when they're now going to complain if other people flout the same subpoenas that they flouted in the January 6th committee.
Now, okay, so Kurt, so here's the thing, right? You know, Democrats need to play tougher hardball, as Daniel says, and do what Republicans did. But here's the thing, to your point, Republicans are ruthless. So Republicans defy subpoenas that come from Democrats. Democrats had the power to go send folks out to arrest them, right? Are we looking at the possibility that Republicans, if a Democrat decides to defy a subpoena, that they will send the police out and arrest them, that they will ratchet it up because they would have the power to do so?
Let's be very clear here, Jonathan. There is no measure that Republicans in power would not embrace if it achieved their means. This is a political party that has decided that it is okay to ransack the Capitol and overturn a free and fair election. Once you've crossed that threshold as a party and you label those domestic terrorists as patriots, you're willing to do just about anything. And this is why, going back to what Daniel was just talking about, Democrats are going to have to get tough here. And when you look at just how we measure up, when you have right now the two leading Democrats in the oversight space, Jerry Nadler, Karen Maloney, how are they going to match up if they're on the other side of this with a Jim Jordan, with a Jim Banks, with some of these crazy Republicans that we have seen, how they turn congressional hearings into theater, how they interrupt, how they badger, what their rhetorical tools are? I think that Democrats are going to have to take a serious look at who they're going to elevate to offset these Republicans. Look at people like Jamie Raskin. Look at some of the people who served in the impeachment of Donald J. Trump. Both of them, as a matter of fact. They're going to have to match up because this becomes a messaging war. This was something that Democrats recognized a little bit when Obama was the president. They elevated Elijah Cummings, the late, great Elijah Cummings, to be the lead oversight Democrat because they knew they needed a forceful public speaker who understood communications, who understood messaging, who had that gravitas, who could go toe-to-toe with people like, at the time, Darrell Issa, Jim Jordan, Mark Meadows, Mike Pompeo, all those Republicans who badgered Obama. Well, look where a lot of those Republicans are now. They're in key leadership positions, so it's going to be crucial. It's going to be vital that if this scenario happens and Republicans take back power, that Democrats match up on the dais.